So let's try to recap. Our glucose in the glycolysis gets converted to pyruvate. And in the last step of glycolysis, we're going to have phosphoenol pyruvate getting converted to pyruvate through the action of an enzyme that we call pyruvate kinase. Deficiency of this enzyme could result in pyruvate kinase deficiency. There are 4 isoenzymes. We have the PKR, which is in the RBC, we have the PKL, which is in the liver, and the ones that are in the skeletal muscle and multiple other tissues. Their defects are usually autosomal recessive, but there are types which are autosomal dominant as well. Symptoms of pyruvate kinase deficiency is going to be of hemolysis. So this is the second most common cause of hemolysis after G6PD deficiency. What happened is that our RBC is going to be dependent on pumps to keep the cation gradient in the cell. And these pumps are going to be largely dependent on ATP for functioning. So when we don't have pyruvate kinase deficiency, this step is going to be defective and we don't have production of ATP. Therefore, low ATP is going to make this enzyme stop working. What will happen is loss of water and loss of potassium is going to give us a shrunken and a dehydrated red blood cell that we call echinocytes, and this will result in hemolysis. As we have with hemolysis, the CBC is going to be showing us low hemoglobin with normal MCV. So this is a normochromic, normocytic anemia. We're going to have decreased hematocrit. Retic count is going to increase, and this can sometimes cause MCV to increase. As there is a lot of turnover, we usually recommend patients to take folic acid supplements, usually lifelong. Now, what happens is that reticulocytes usually have mitochondria, so they can undergo TCA cycle and oxidative phosphorylation, so they have a better chance of survival than mature RBC. However, when the reticulocytes get trapped inside the spleen, we're going to have an hypoxic environment, so their mitochondria will stop working, and this will again cause hemolysis. That's why splenectomy is going to be a good treatment. When the red blood cells are getting hemolyzed, we're going to have their content spill outside, and we can measure that as increased lactate dehydrogenase, and we're going to have indirect hyperbilirubinemia, which manifests as jaundice. Blood transfusion is going to be an important treatment as well, because there is recurrent chronic hemolysis, so blood transfusion sometimes can be important. But this is also something to keep in mind, that repetitive blood transfusions can cause hemochromatosis and iron overload. Gallstones are a very common feature of this condition due to chronic hemolysis and usually gets treated with cholecystectomy, and this can present in the first decade of life. Other features of chronic hemolysis and chronic anemias such as extramedullary hematopoiesis, frontal bossing, and things that we see in hemoglobinopathies can also happen.